My name is Krista Letty. I'm the Experience Development Coordinator here at Métis Crossing. Métis Crossing is this beautiful place on the North Saskatchewan River. We are a gathering place and a story place. We tell the Métis story. We invite everyone to come and experience Métis culture and to just connect with the land. We are known not only as the children of the fur trade, but also as the floral beadwork people. And that's because a lot of our art involves those organic symbols, the organic motifs, being flowers and plants and all of the elements of those different things that grow in the ground. Sometimes our artwork also has elements from animals, so insects. It could be simple as tracks to images of anything that's around us, all of those living things. Beads are usually made out of glass. Sometimes they're actually made out of seeds that we harvest around us, or horn or bone, but the glass is the most popular. When it catches the light, it's just so beautiful. The colors, the shapes, even the way they're cut and the way they sparkle just add to the art. Beads are very difficult to color. You actually take metals or metal oxides and add them to the molten glass to create specific colors, which limits how many colors we could have. But we have our favorites. And sometimes it's about how scarce a color was. Like, for example, pink was very popular. Still is pretty popular today. But there are colors that speak to the individual artist. Those colors will last forever. And those stories using those colors last forever. We are also known for our embroidery. Now, during the fur trade, silk was readily available, and that silk thread was used to create beautiful items. Silk did have a benefit over beads because it's very lightweight. So a beaded jacket, you could honestly have 10 to 20 pounds added to your clothing with all of that heavy beadwork, whereas silk would beautify your clothing, but it would still be lightweight. Silk also has a beautiful luster. And that luster, again, when the sun catches it, it just shines and attracts the eye. It holds its color really well, so that was also a popular element. But the most important part, again, were the shapes. So those curves, the round edges, the way that the patterns swoop across our backs and our chests and our legs and all of those clothing that we have decorated. And we decorate pretty much everything. If we could paint it, we could sew on it, we could stamp it, we could carve it, we would decorate it. So we as makers put the different emotions and meanings and teachings into the work we create. So we are sharing culture, we are sharing our experiences within those petals, within those leaves, within those little tendrils that twirl and migrate across our palette. We talk a lot about traditional art, and there are very specific elements to Métis art that make it identifiable as belonging to the community, to the culture, the collective. But it's important to remember that emerging artists, so the artists that are those children that they become artists as they grow, they are taught these traditional ways, but they find new ways to express their culture. I myself take the traditional teachings around how to bead and the importance of our beads and the importance of colors and the importance of patterns, and I create something completely different than what my great-grandmothers made. And it doesn't make it any less Métis. It's just not traditional. If you are a Métis person and you make art, it's Métis art. If you're an Indigenous person and you make art, it's Indigenous art. It's really important to remember that just because you may not have the teachings around all those old traditional patterns, you can still make art that's based around your Métis experience, around who you are. Every artist, when we create something, always has a piece of us in it. And that means that that drawing, that sculpture, that painting, that beadwork, that embroidery, it's Métis. So we're gonna have have some fun making some art today, and we're gonna do it Métis style. So Métis art is really distinctive. We use these incredible organic images of flowers and plants, all of the parts of the plants and animals. I have a couple really neat examples here. So this one, as you can see, has this big, beautiful flower with some flower buds, really nice colors. This is another amazing example. This is a lot of beadwork, but you can see that very organic way, lots of curved lines, movement. A piece that I made, and you can see here, I've got this really nice plant, and I even have some little bees on there. And then lastly, as an example, here's another beautiful flower. And this one actually is taken from flowers that grow out here at Métis Crossing, wood lilies. And you can see again, lots of curved lines, lots of interesting colors, really, really a lot of fun. Our art is all about personal expression. So while we have a very specific motif of those flowers, you know, it's about the artist and what they bring to it. And we're going to do some of that today. A little bit about the art that we do though. There are floral patterns that we make in all of the things that we make. And by the way, we decorate pretty much everything. So if you go to a gathering or meet some Métis people or even go to a museum or an art gallery, you might see some of these very distinctive floral designs. I'm not going to teach those today. Those are special, and we pass them down to our youth, to those that are learning, those that are reconnecting to culture. Today we're going to do kind of a generalized floral design, and we're not the only community and culture that use flowers to decorate ourselves. But we do have a connection to some of those other cultures because we take what's outside. We take the plants that feed us, that heal us, that beautify our world, and we add them to what we're decorating. So for example, my moccasins, if I'm wearing those flowers on my moccasins, I'm kind of bringing the idea of that plant into every footstep I take. If I'm wearing a beautiful jacket or a vest, again, I'm taking those different elements that are represented and bringing them to me to remind me of who I am, where I am, and the beauty of nature and how helpful it is to me. So what you're going to need for this is something to draw or paint on. This is really wonderful because you don't have to use a flip chart and markers like I am today. I'm using this just to be really highly visual and easy for you, but you can use paint, crayons. Oh, finger painting, super fun. You can do pretty much anything you want. Even if you have just an iPad and a drawing app, use that as well. You're going to need something to, of course, create with. So I have a nice little palette of markers, which I'll be using today. It's not as diverse of a palette as maybe some of you have, but it'll work for what I'm doing. So use as little or as much color as you like. And lastly, you're gonna need a little bit of creativity, a little bit of introspection, a little bit of reflection about who you are. What we're going to do is we're gonna dive deep into who you are. What do you like? What speaks to you, what sings to you, and we're going to add that to our picture today. All right, let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to plan how big of an area we're going to color. And this is true for any art. Because this is a really big piece of paper, I'm going to use a good part of it, again, so that's easy for you to see. And I'm going to choose my first color. I'm going to go with green. So what I'm going to do is we are going to do that kind of floral motif, but just a little different than the really traditional Métis way. I am going to create a stem, and I'm going to go up a good part of my page. Now, right now it's just a simple green line, and when I have time, I might, expand on that, make it a little fancier, but for now this will work. So I'm going to put my green down, and the second color I'm going to choose is orange. Now, colors have a lot of power for who we are. Now, I want you to think of your favorite color. I want you to think of how you feel about that color. What does it do? Do you feel happy? Do you feel content? Do you feel peaceful? Or do you feel excited? Colors make us feel, they make us reflect on our experiences and the world around us. Now I'm using orange as the center of my flower, not because it's my favorite, because it's my Kokum's favorite. And I always like to incorporate her favorite colors into any work I do. So, nice orange circle. Now, as you can see, I'm just using lines. In traditional Métis art, of course, people think of beadwork, which, you know, if I were representing here, would be lots of little dots. But we also use a lot of embroidery, so you can really have fun with the lines you're creating. So maybe I'll just put a bunch of dots in the middle of my circle here to kind of represent the beadwork that I normally would be doing. You can have fun. The next color I'm going to choose is blue, and this is my favorite color. When I see this color, specifically, like I love this shade of blue. It makes me feel happy. It makes me feel content. When you see me wearing this color, I probably didn't have the greatest morning and have put on this color to kind of be like my armor for the day. This just makes my mind sing. It makes me happy. And for this part of the drawing, I want you to choose your favorite color. And not everyone will have blue. I'd like to see what everyone does because it's kind of neat to see everybody's expression. We're going to do a 5-petal flower, which is really typically, you know, Métis, but again, it's not just us. There are other cultures that use this. I'm going to show you the trick to make a 5-petal flower. And by the way, your art doesn't have to be perfect. There's no such thing as perfect art. I am going to make little lines like this. And it's going to be like there. So it looks like here's like the top. There's 2 little arms and then 2 little legs. And they're pretty equal. It almost looks like a turtle, which I absolutely love as well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect these loops together. And again, they don't have to be perfect. You can have a wonky, lopsided flower with super chunky petals, and it's okay. It's gonna look great. So you can see now I have my flower. It is not perfect. It's imperfectly perfect. And I'm gonna do some decorating in my flower. So I'm gonna do a couple lines just to have some fun with it. And then I'm going to choose another color, and this time I kind of have this pinky purpley color, and it's really nice. It also makes me kind of happy when I see this color. And I could color in my petals. You can do whatever you like. Just for time, I'm just going to kind of do this design in here because it's kind of fun. And there we go. So fill in your flower, have a little bit of fun with that. I'm going to take my green again. I'm just going to connect my stem to my flower. There we go. The next step after this is I'm going to take my green and I'm going to create almost like some arms. And I think I'm going to take some longer ones here. I'm going to put this away for now. I'm going to choose my next color. This one, I'm going to choose red. Red is one of those colors that you see is a really special color in a lot of different traditions and cultures. Yours, mine, it's just such a vibrant, important color. Sometimes it's considered the color of life, the color of blood. It is, some of the most beautiful flowers are red. So this is a nice color to use. And if it was your favorite color and you did your big flower, you can choose another color, that's okay. What I'm going to do on these big long arms here, I'm going to create some flower buds, and this is how I'm going to do it. I am going to kind of make a half circle on either side. Okay? Then I am going to do slightly curved lines that come to the middle like this. Pretty cool, huh? And we'll just find a way to shade them in. I'm just going to use some lines. It's already looking pretty good. I'm going to choose another color now. I'm going to go back to the orange. And I'm going to do, it's like it's a circle. It's kind of nestled inside there. It's hiding inside. I'm just going to do a couple lines there. And just to be fancy, because I'm Métis and that's what we do, I'm going to take that purpley pink again. And I'm just going to do some more lines like this. Just 3 little lines. Pretty neat. Okay, I'm really liking where this is going. I'm going to pick up my green again, because now we're going to leaf things out a little bit. Give it a little bit more body. So I am going to put some little lines partway down the stem here. And to do a leaf, just do 2 kind of curved lines where the points touch. There we go. And then just do a line down the center. Now, if you want to be fancy again, if you have a different color of green, you can actually fill in that color. So you'll have a different color green filling in the leaves with this as the outline. It looks pretty smart. I'm just going to leave these as they are right now. And I'm going to think about, what am I going to do here? Now, in Métis art, we incorporate not just usually one plant. On small pieces like that little bag, it's kind of just singular. But on big pieces, you'll see all sorts of different plants represented and animals. In this piece, we're going to have fun with our imagination. Obviously, on a single plant, this isn't really going to be realistic. That's the beauty of Métis art. It's not always realistic. Sometimes we just make it up. We see colors that we like and we like shapes. We'll just make up a whole new flower. It may not be anything that you find out in your garden or in the wild. So for this, I actually thinking I'm going to add some berries. Kind of looks weird if this were a real plant, but trust me, it'll look nice. So I'm going to take my green. I'm actually going to extend these lines and I'm going to kind of do like a curly Q. Ooh, it does not look neat. And I'm going to choose a different color now. I'm going to go back to red. You can use any color you like. And I'm going to put one on the end. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of put a couple down the stem here. Doesn't have to be exact. I like to stagger them a little just because it has a really nice kind of visual. And then I'm going to grab my green marker again. And I'm just going to connect those berries to my main stem. And you can see they're not quite the same, but that's okay. If you've noticed on my work, I've created a mirror image, or pretty close to it. This is very typical of Métis work, but it also isn't always the case. Quite often you'll have asymmetrical patterns, and you can have a lot of fun with the art. Again, it's about the artist, and it's about how they see the world and what they want to express in what they're doing. Okay, next step. I'm going to choose a totally different color. I've got some brown. And I am actually going to take a color that most people would be like, meh, I'm going to do something really neat with it. So in this artwork, I've got these flowers. I like to add insects, just me, because insects are so important to our environment, and a healthy environment always has bugs. I know some people are like, ew, bugs, but I just want you to think about the pollinators. I want you to think about the bugs that help recycle all of the dead matter, and the ones that also eat the pests. Like, they're important. So for this one, I think I'm gonna do let's do a little beetle. So to do a beetle, I'm just gonna kind of draw an oval, And then I'm going to do a line down the center. Then I'm going to do kind of a dot at the top, and I'm going to fill that in. And then some little antenna. Okay, now if this were realistic, the beetle's wings would be open because it'd be flying, but we're just having some fun here, so don't worry about it. If you want to add some little legs, beetles usually have 6. And because I've already seen a ladybug this spring, I'm going to put some dots on here. And now, can you guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to take my red, because you know, ladybugs are awesome. And I'm just going to kind of fill in that red a little bit. Now, on the other side, I want you to draw an insect that you like. It could be a butterfly, a dragonfly, a spider, something that is special to you. I am actually going to take my black and I'm going to do a little spider. Not the kind that sneak into our showers and scare us in the morning. This is a very nice garden spider that helps catch things like wasps and mosquitoes, and you know, it's a helpful spider. And of course they have 8 little legs. All right. And I kind of want to do a little spider web. So I'm going to choose my favorite color for that spider web, because for a spider, those spider webs are really important to them. It helps them catch their food. It provides a type of shelter with their webbing. But boy, are they ever nice to take pictures of too. So we'll have our spider sitting in a web, and this is an easy way to do a web. You find a spot to start, and you just draw some lines out. And then you connect it with kind of little curvy lines in between. If you really don't like spiders, you don't have to put a spider. We're just putting our favorite over here. And just to add one last element, because after I'm done talking, I want you to take your picture and really fill it out and have some fun. I want you to think about what's attached at the bottom here. Now, some people might do roots, and that's okay. Some people might do a vase. I want you to think from your own experience, what kind of decoration do you want to put on the bottom here? Now, there are some Métis art that have beautiful vases on the bottom, and there's Métis art that have beautiful root systems, and they start to incorporate other parts of all of the critters that we'd find under the soil. I'm thinking I'm going to do a vase today, just because I'm feeling a little extra. So I'm going to choose this purpley pink again. I just really like this color. And I'm just going to do a line across. I'm going to bring that down and just connect the lines. There we go. And maybe just do a nice thick band at the top here. You can see my green, but that's okay. And then I'm going to take the blue, and I think I'm just going to do an outline, almost kind of give this idea that there's water in here. Water is really important to everything. We all need water. And maybe I'll just do some dots in there just to have some fun. Oh. And then I'm going to pick up my orange and maybe do some squiggles just for decoration. Doesn't have to be super, super fancy. You can have fun with whatever you want to do. All right, so you have your piece of art. Now your instructions are, you've started this. So just like you chose your favorite color and you chose your favorite insect, I want you to start to fill in all of the other spots with colors and shapes. Just experiment, have some fun with it. Think about what has influenced you as a person, what has influenced your work. and also just what makes you happy. And I want to see what you can do. All right, get drawing, get painting, get creating. Have a really fun time with this. Hi, it's Krista from Métis Crossing, and I want to invite you to come out and experience Métis culture and try something new here. It could be simple as dancing, or doing a traditional workshop, or even just coming and spending time with the river and the land and the plants and the animals. See you soon at Métis Crossing.